Welcome to r/FatLogic, where, for entertainment reasons, we will start with r/gatekeeping, from Cheesy Tortoise. You simply cannot be jacked and smart at the same time. It doesn't work that way. Somebody wrote, each large muscle of a bodybuilder represents a language he didn't learn, a poem he didn't read, a fun fact he never memorized.
And they say fit-shaming isn't a real thing.
Now we cruise over to r/FatLogic, where we'll probably stay for the rest of our time. From illegal memes for sale. Do you have any scientific evidence to back that up? Yeah, here you go. Wow, what a cube of sugar. Fluctuations in metabolism are minuscule. Where's your scientific evidence that backs this up? Genuinely want to know, since you know all the science. Someone replies with a harvard.edu article. The original person, Zod, you sound like a cube of sugar. Twin Sons replied, this is the FA version of, if a girl I want a flamingo turns me down, she immediately becomes a huge finch. From Sweetheart Blues, obviously a completely reasonable response to another point of view, /S. I'm not exaggerating when I say that the current state of fatphobia is the equivalent of the state of sexism, homophobia, transphobia, etc. pre-1900s. That is how horrid and dire the situation is. Someone replied, being gay was and still is illegal and punishable by death in many countries. Women were and still are forced into marriages, denied basic human rights, etc. Yes, beauty standards can be very harmful, and fat people do face aversion in society, but this comparison is just really flamingoing disrespectful. Flamingo, you flamingo, you flamingo, you flamingo, you! Get the flamingo away from me, you fat phobic butt trench! X-Teen of the North replied, the immediate hostility of these people is really telling. When you have literally no comeback and have to scream nothing but obscenities, maybe it's time to reevaluate what you're standing for. From Blue Orion. Now we can't even eat healthy anymore? The I'm not gonna diet, I'm just gonna eat healthier diet is diet culture in its sneakiest form. Okra Garden replied, they really just want everyone to eat a gallon of ice cream and a box of McNuggets a day. Mastermind, what do you mean only one box of McNuggets? Diet alert! Zingaronics, don't worry, it's a 50-piece. And there's a gallon of iced tea to wash it down.
Sweetened iced tea.
Hay Bales brings us, what in the world are you talking about? The vice president being sworn into office has what correlation to your intuitive eating narrative? Watching Kamala take her oath as the first female vice president, and I kept thinking, this is why we have to continue to fight against diet culture. Birdie replies with a comment that means as much as the original. I was putting a sock on my left foot earlier, and I realized this is why we have to continue fighting diet culture.
But seriously, what does Kamala have to do with diet culture? Near as I can tell, Biden is much skinnier. Maybe I'm wrong.
From Blue Orion, yeah, no. It's a picture of 3 women. 1 overweight, 1 normal weight, and 1 obese. The overweight one eats 2,200 calories a day, runs 10 miles a week, works a desk job. The healthy one eats 2,200 calories a day, runs 10 miles a week, works a desk job. And guess what? The obese one eats 2,200 calories a day, runs 10 miles a week, and works a desk job. 95er Skydiver writes what you're probably thinking. 2,200 calories a day and 10 miles a week isn't indicative of a calorie deficit. This is frustrating, because so many people honestly believe there's no hope for them because of this type of stuff. Well, this is just who I am and I can't do anything about it.
And the person who wrote the meme probably didn't do a lot of research into how many calories 10 miles a week actually burns. If you're a woman, this might only burn 1,000 calories a week. Divide that by 7, and you're not talking a lot of calories burned per day.
Shoddy Natural brings us, so is it eating too much or genetics? Pick one at least. Thin privilege is not having to eat at home before you meet up with your friends for dinner, so you only manage to eat a tiny portion at your favorite restaurant, because no matter how much you like them, there's still the fear of being called out on eating the same food as them, because you're fat and they're not. Spooky. Eating 2 dinners might be why you're fat and they're not. Emoji. Shoddy Natural. It's genetics! Slippery surprise. But my body needs it. Blue Orion also brings us, they do know what this sounds like, right? Overeating is a symptom of not being intimate enough with the body. Flowers for Tamlin replied, so whenever you feel like having an extra serving of mashed potatoes, even though you're full, spend a little intimate time with yourself in the bedroom instead. Big bad throwaway today. I support this. I'd wear this on a t-shirt. Fight obesity. Spend intimate time with yourself. Preparation number 9392. 100% would wear. Big bad throwaway today. To work, and then make uncomfortable eye contact with everyone. Probably nude, and loudly talk about how hungry you are before heading to the bathroom with your earbuds and cell phone. From Filderay. Not eating for 16 hours? Starvation, apparently. Regardless of what the hashtag keto warriors want you to believe, starving yourself for 16 hours after a binge, or as they call it, intermittent fasting, is an eating disorder behavior, and will only deepen your shame and complicate your relationship with food. Inside Sympathy replied, I wonder if they know that breakfast is a centuries-old term used to describe breaking the fast of the night before, because up until very recently, most people didn't have the amount of food required to eat constantly throughout the waking hours. Uttam Jordis Scott. Ooh, don't tell them that. They will insist that word be changed into something else.
I can see it now. Don't use the B word. We now call it gentle morning nutrition.
Chrissy Beck, it happened. Intuitive drinking. It's a picture of a wine bottle. Instead of, OMG, don't tempt me, I'm doing dry January. I drink way too much. Or if it's a skinny drink, fine. I'm just not going to go out. I need to balance out last month. Instead, try, how much makes you feel your best no matter the month? Brave Moose. Intuitive drinking is more well known by its common name. Alcoholism. Fiercely immobile added, I think it's the same with food and alcohol. Some people can have a glass of wine or a beer with dinner or at a party, and not even thinking about having another one. Then there are others whose brains are wired like, if one is good, then 8 would be better. Intuitive anything doesn't work if you're wired like that. It's still not an excuse to give up. You just have to make up for your brain's deficiencies with your will. I'm one of those people whose brain treats everything like a teenager in a movie whose parents are out of town. From Elmir 2000. Someone had an extra dose of bitter juice today. Things that are not accomplishments. Losing weight. Fitting into your goal weight pants. Posting a before and after picture. Actual accomplishments. Graduating from a school course program. Raising money for a nonprofit. Celebrating the body you are in today. Kangaroo replied, posting before and after pictures is celebrating the body you are in today. Jolimi, no, it is fatphobic to celebrate a healthy body. Olivia Olive, you may lose weight, but you'll never keep it off. People who go from fat to thin and stay there statistically rounds down to 0. Every study says so. No study says otherwise. None. Oh, you can lose a ton of weight with diet and exercise. You'll gain it back. Here's one study running the numbers. Here's a much larger analysis of every long-term weight loss study they could find. They all find the exact same thing. You can lose and keep off some minor amount, 10 or 15 pounds for the rest of your life. It's hard, but it can be done. Rarer cases may keep off a little more, but no one goes from actually fat to actually thin. Phoenix Namora replied, I'm constantly astounded by the defeatist attitude of some people, especially fat acceptance and HAES, regarding weight loss. The progression goes like this. Stage 1. Dieting is an eating disorder and is unhealthy. Stage 2. Dieting doesn't work. It makes you gain weight, which some of them would argue is a perfectly good thing. Stage 3. Even if diets work, you won't keep the weight off. Stage 4. Even if you do keep the weight off, it's super rare and mostly because of genetics. Stage 5. Wanting to change your body at all is fat-phobic. Grotchvey added, reminds me of the narcissist's prayer. A narcissist's prayer. That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it.
I think I've known people like that. Luckily, I don't interact with them much anymore.
From IMLers. Only women's bodies defy physics in their very own unique way. Listening to this, you might think this is from a certain infamous YouTuber and Instagrammer who is male, but in fact this is from a woman. Many women are told to just eat less to get rid of weight. This is often bad advice. Caution emoji. Why? Because eating less can slow down the metabolism, which then makes it even harder to slim down. Instead, it's important for women to know their unique metabolic type, so they can choose the best foods and exercises that work with their body and not against it. And after helping thousands of women reshape their bodies with this simple principle, I have created a free quiz so any woman can discover her unique metabolic type. Click on the link below to take the quiz and I'll give you my best tips custom tailored to your answers. Chronically Ace. See, this is the BS diet culture that FAs should be worried about. Blatant misinformation. Preying on people's desperation to lose weight to make money. From Hay Bales, all diets are eating disorders. Frustrated emoji. Angry emoji. Steaming emoji. What you think you'll get from dieting. Health, acceptance from others, happiness, attractiveness. What you actually got from dieting. Feeling addicted to food, worse anxiety and depression, low sex drive, constipation, bloating, diarrhea, loss of period, hair, fear spontaneous food choices, obsessive thoughts about food and weight, purging to cope with guilt and fear. Reverse Lazarus replied, my sex drive skyrocketed when I started watching what I ate and losing weight. My period is perfect and predictable for the first time in my life, and I am way healthier. Better cholesterol and blood pressure, no more insomnia and acid reflux. Anxiety is under control, I no longer have depressive mood swings. Flamingo whoever fearmongers with this type of misinformation. It's criminal to tell people something that can help will be detrimental. Zemi Kitty added, with regular exercise routine, my period has few, if any, cramps. Mine can shift a day or two, so before I got into exercising, I relied on the start of the cramps. With a healthy body weight and exercise routine, the darn thing sneaks up on me. Ruined many a panty. Sorry, TMI. From Paintbrush Mini, 0. A reminder, 0 health conditions affect only humans and fat bodies. 0. An important reminder for you and for your well-meaning friend, family member, whomever. Weight stigma is deadly. Infinita Cooking replied, the AMA classifies as obesity as a disease, so... Auntie N brings us, what the fireball happened to the old HAES movement? Repost from a comment here. HAES was a good thing when it started. Its mission statement was basically, you should definitely eat a healthy diet and exercise and lose weight if you need to. But don't freak out if you don't look like an Instagram fitness model at your goal weight. Some women are bigger than others, but as long as you're treating your body well, don't worry too much about not being able to fit into a size 2. It was a really cool and body-positive movement. A lot of obese people develop a sense of learned helplessness, thinking that since they would probably never look like a model, they shouldn't even try to lose weight or eat healthy, or that working out is pointless, because when you lose weight, you're still going to be broad-shouldered or have loose skin. You'll never be able to be in a Lululemon ad. HAES was basically saying, Flamingo aiming for an aesthetic goal, just be healthy. However, it eventually was co-opted by a very vocal minority in the fat activist community. People like Tess Holliday, ugh. And now the message seems to have been twisted into, losing weight is impossible, you shouldn't even try, and as long as your blood tests are normal, being fat isn't doing any damage to your body. Anyone who tells you that being fat is unhealthy is just fat-shaming you. It's really sad, and it makes me furious, like, way to flamingo up a good thing, you flamingoing butt trenches, and endanger the health of your followers at the same time. Google Alma Whisperer replied, it should be relaunched as HAAES, Healthy Activity at Every Size. Renexiters added, and then they'll create HAAAES, Healthy Anti-Activity at Every Size, lol. Blackie Chan, it'll be discriminatory for a thin person to jog on the street when a fat person can't. It should be banned. The Ian Bien brings us, on a post about someone getting a surgery for their double chin. You can't make this stuff up. Skull and Crossbones. Or, hear me out, lose some weight and live a healthier lifestyle. You know, some people can't lose weight no matter what, right?
I want to be a little fair here and point out that losing weight doesn't necessarily help somebody to lose all of their chin fat. It just doesn't always work that way for everybody. Sometimes you just have to accept that that's the way life is. I mostly put this in here for the following comments.
Nice replied, my fiance's sister is 5'8", 370 pounds with PCOS, and genuinely seems to have convinced herself that it is impossible for her to lose weight because of it. She also seems to think that PCOS is what caused her obesity and not the other way around. I mean, she eats 3 large meals a day and is constantly snacking in between. Her and her boyfriend never stop eating, and they never drink regular water because our bodies can't handle it. They think living like that is normal and that they just have it harder than most people. Calorie counting won't do a thing according to her, because that's not how women with PCOS lose weight. You men just have it so easy, so what you do won't work for me. Olivia Olive brings us, I think fat activists are the ones who are anti-science. Fat phobes are so anti-science it hurts. Fat phobes are also so anti-shutting the flamingo up, it also hurts. Also, obese looks different on different people, because BMI tells a person nothing. Elitist AF Duckies B-Day. I'd like to know how fat phobes are anti-science. Maybe something like this fat activist failing to realize obese isn't a look, it's a measurement and a medical diagnosis. Just the feds added, anti-science has become a pseudo-religious tool with which to bludgeon people who disagree with you or worse, offend you. Replace it with infidel or non-believer or witch or devil worshipper, I could go on, and the way it's used makes a lot more sense. Another one from Olivia Olive, who's appeared quite a few times this issue. Dr. Now does actually care about his patients? Anonymous asked, I've been watching a couple of episodes of My 600-Pound Life, and this Dr. Now guy, he doesn't care about the well-being of his patients. All he cares about is making money off the self-hate that these people feel about themselves. Somebody replied, all the diet industry is like this, to be honest. Kombucha Enema replied, he told me the truth and it hurt my feelings. He doesn't care about me. Hobmond Katza added, the scale doesn't lie, people do. Dr. Now.
Sorry, I can't do his accent. I haven't watched enough of the show to master that at all.
From May Chow. Not liking spreads on sandwiches is disordered eating. If you don't like spreads on sandwiches, that's probably not you. That's your eating disorder.
And they put quotes around you, which suggests that they don't believe that you are who you think you are. Anyway, moving past their bad grammar to more crazy things they say.
A friendly reminder that this is a common hashtag disordered eating behavior that's been normalized by hashtag diet culture. Other behaviors / quote-unquote preferences to check on related to this. Quote, I hate mayo, unquote. Do you really? Or do you hate the fear associated with what you've been told about mayo being, quote, bad / quote, unhealthy, quote, question mark. Quote, I like mayo, but only a little, end quote. Okay, but only a little because why? Quote, I like spreads, but only olive oil and avocado oil, or this specific dressing, end quote. Again, why? If the why stems back to fears around body change, weight gain, or fears around good foods, bad foods, healthy versus unhealthy foods, take a step back and challenge yourself. Folomir. Imagine being victimized by the amount of mayo someone puts on their sandwich. People who worry about this sort of stuff have nothing else going on in their lives, do they? From Ride Cut Jitsu. I'm sorry, what? You are not in charge of the size of your child's body. Despite what we've been led to believe, we are not in charge of the size of our children's bodies. It is not our responsibility as parents. What do you think? Does this topic make you uncomfortable? Let's have a conversation on this topic. Romaki. It literally is your responsibility as a parent to keep your child healthy. Fracht. But what about mental health? Ghost of Lunch Tomorrow. They can be on a cocktail of pharmaceutical drugs like the rest of us. From Ride Cut Jitsu. So, wanting to be as healthy as you can be is now ableist? This is sick. Listen. Diet rules have the appearance of wisdom, but they don't tame our selfish tendencies. We have freedom to eat. We do not have to be as healthy as possible. That's just not a neighbors-centered approach to life. That's ableist. Remember, God uses weak things to shame strong ones. New name. Gotta love how they use God as an excuse for their unhealthy lifestyle, when Christianity classifies gluttony as a cardinal sin. Aya Babe brings us, I found one in the wild. What's up with everyone and their mysteriously obese mothers lately? Hello, eating disorder, starting with the letter A.
I'm not sure I can say that on YouTube.
By the way, fat shaming doesn't help at all. You want to know what the world looks like without the body positivity movement? Check out this website about the death rate caused by the eating disorder starting with the letter A. Somebody replied, body positivity is not for overweight people, eat less. Body positivity was made by and for overweight people. It was always meant for overweight people. It was meant for disabled and disfigured people, not for people who eat themselves into a wheelchair out of boredom. I seriously think Reddit underestimates how many fat people are that way because of disabilities. My mom is fat because she's disabled and physically cannot exercise. It's impossible. She doesn't eat candy, no fast food, plenty of healthy meals here. She's still overweight though. A lot of the time, disabilities and obesity go hand in hand. Your mother is not fat because of her disability. Your mother is fat because she has not adjusted her caloric intake after her disability lowered her caloric needs. Too much of a healthy food will make you fat, just like you can lose weight by only eating Snickers bars on a calorie deficit. I don't know if you'll believe me on this one, but she barely eats anything. At most, she'll eat some breakfast and then one meal for dinner.
Wait a second. Do most people have more than one meal for dinner?
At worst, she can go for days without eating. Depression is a finch, huh? I'm actually very worried about how little she eats these days. She's fat because she has a heart condition from birth, a neck and right arm that just don't work anymore and leaves her in constant pain, as well as depression. Some people cannot flamingo help their weight, and I wish people on the internet would realize you can't always visually tell who's disabled and who isn't.
I just want to clarify that I do feel bad for the mother. It sounds like she has life pretty tough. That said, if she did correct her caloric intake, I don't see any reason why she wouldn't lose weight.
Phoenix Gaming replied, plenty of healthy meals, but she hardly eats anything.
Both things were said about the same person, by the way.
Pick one, you can't have both. They contradict themselves in the space of 2 posts. Salku added, I've noticed this trend when fat people claim they cannot lose weight. They say they barely eat, but eat plenty of healthy meals. Maybe what this really means is they eat a lot of food they think is healthy and barely eat, meaning they will only have multiple snacks during the day. Phoenix Gaming, if you want to see just how much people are capable of denying how much they eat, watch Secret Eaters. There are a lot of episodes on YouTube.
Last time I checked, it was also on Tubi.
People who claim to eat under 1,200 calories and can't lose weight are invited to the program. Cameras are set in their house. Work and private investigators tail them, where they count all the calories that they've eaten throughout the week. Woman who swore on her life that she eats nothing but salad and fruit was recorded to have some salad at home over the course of a week, and then some random snacks. Slice of cheese here, a couple of biscuits at work, large caramel latte on the way to work, quick bite of her husband's burger, etc. So while her meals were in fact salad at home, her snacks and random bites of food contributed to about 3/4 of her caloric intake of 2,800 calories. The reverse of this show is truth about slim people. People who can eat what they want and never gain weight have been followed with cameras. Self-proclaimed human dustbin man, who bragged how he demolishes whole packets of biscuits a couple of times a week, was eating this pack of 4 biscuits, and he would have them instead of the dinner. He walked to work doing nearly 20,000 steps a day.
That's pretty impressive for steps. I think that would take 2 to 3 hours.
Woman who claimed to eat like a pig on a night out was recorded to then eat nothing at all the following day until about 6 p.m. People are generally slime at estimating how much they eat. I remember going out for a meal at McDonald's during lunch break with my 5'2" skinny coworker who claims she can easily demolish a McDonald's meal and doesn't even feel full after, and can eat as much as she wants. She had a Happy Meal. Like Finch, your meal comes with a flamingo toy. It's not an adult portion. It's not an achievement. People who can eat as much as they want and not gain weight simply don't want to eat much. From Capricorn 369 Winna. So deluded. If you think these things make you underprivileged, then I'd guess you've had a pretty cushy existence. If you've been able to eat yourself to the point of being obese, that's privilege. Privilege tick box. You're not assumed to be unhealthy just because of your size. When you're at the grocery store, people don't comment on the food selection in your cart in the name of trying to be helpful. Your health insurance rates are not higher than everyone else's. You can expect to pay reasonable prices for your clothing. You can expect to find your clothing size sold locally. You can expect to find clothing in the latest styles and colors instead of colorless, shapeless, and outdated styles meant to hide your body. You don't receive suggestions from your friends and family to join Weight Watchers or any other weight loss program. When you go to the doctor, they don't suspect diabetes, or high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or other weight-related diagnoses as the first most likely diagnosis. You don't get told, "You have such a pretty, handsome face," implying, if only you lose weight, you could be even more attractive. People do not assume that you are lazy based solely on your size. You are not the brunt of jokes for countless numbers of comedians, and airlines won't charge you extra to fly. Kangaroo replied, "Privileged tick box. You have health insurance. When you go to the doctor, you're mostly concerned about getting a thin person diagnosis, not if you have some serious condition that's going to cost you a lot of money to treat and will push your family further into poverty. You live comfortably enough to care about latest styles and colors of clothing. You have money to buy lots of food at a grocery store to sustain a larger body. Your biggest concern is people looking at your cart and commenting on it, not if you have enough money to keep your whole family fed. You have money to fly or travel." From Chachi Machanga, Opie is facing severe health risks from PCOS. FA berates her for not sticking with IE just for her health. Have you read the intuitive eating book? It sounds like you're making peace with food would be good for you. Ask yourself, do you want to eat when you are hungry? Do you want to stop eating when you are full? Do you want to stop emotional eating? Do you want to enjoy exercising? Do you want to eat food that satisfies you? Do you want to stop linking your self-worth to some arbitrary numbers on the scale? Someone replied, "Yes, that all sounds great, but that doesn't address the practical concerns about my health." The original person, "If you don't think that would address your health concerns, if you think that you can't gain even 1 more pound, then you really need to look at how diet culture is controlling your life. Gaining and losing a couple of pounds from one day to the next is totally normal.
Well, that's true.
Eating the dessert you crave will not cause you to gain weight."
That depends on the dessert, the size of the dessert, and how many calories you've already had that day.
Continuing to restrict and overeat will cause you to gain weight. Trying a weight loss diet will cause you to gain weight. Implementing gentle nutrition will cause you to lose weight. Obsessing over your weight will probably lead to more emotional eating. Making peace with food will probably lead to a healthier weight. Kiket, "What? The flamingo is gentle nutrition? Goodness, everything they talk about has to be so sugar-coated. All I'm picturing is food that's physically easy to eat, like baby food or Jell-O."
How come intuitive eaters never talk about eating food that makes you feel full without giving you a ton of calories? Strange. They all seem to think it's a purely mental thing, and that if you just fix your head, then you'll no longer be hungry anymore. That sounds like some grade A BS. Is that just me?
From N. Roth, "I've read this 10 times and can confidently say it makes 0 sense. Fundamental to the fat acceptance movement is the expansion of the accessibility and the decency that are afforded to fat people in a society that villainizes and despises fatness." Stable Label replied, "Like Walmart providing those mobility carts, or some people qualifying for disability when their problems are caused by obesity, or seat extenders on airplanes, how about those ambulances especially equipped to carry and transport morbidly obese people? That kind of accessibility? I don't despise them. I just feel incredibly sad that morbidly obese people have settled into that kind of life like it should be normal. Same as I'd feel for severely underweight people, too." From Schnach and the Schwein.
Is it just me, or are there a lot of German names this week? Anyway.
Sure, cling to HAES after someone has died, and your husband might, during a pandemic. CW, health concerns, diet talk, eating disorder mention. My husband's father passed away a year ago from non-alcoholic liver failure, and my husband has been diagnosed with early stages of fatty liver disease and some liver scarring. The doctor recommended weight loss and diabetes management. He's type 1 diabetic and okay at managing his diabetes. But I'm really appalled that doctors just said, "Don't bother meeting with a dietitian, they'll just say to eat Mediterranean diet." I have a history of eating disorders and obsession with food exercise, so this topic is somewhat difficult in our household. We've both been finding ways to enjoy movement, but I'm really scared now that he's going to go down this rabbit hole of weird diets.
Wait a second, Mediterranean diet's not weird. It's basically about eating healthy vegetables.
Does anyone have a dietitian that they love that can help guide our meal planning in a way that feels safe and not fat-shaming even with these major health concerns? Ideally, I'd like to talk to someone that would take our insurance, This topic is extremely emotional right now for both of us, as it's just about the 1-year anniversary of my father-in-law's death. Snach and the Schwein replied to themselves. What's sad is I know this person in real life. We're both involved in kitten and cat rescue and fostering. I know she knows how weight works. She has had cats on all kinds of diets overall, whether to lose weight or grow well. Literal animal trials right there, yet she still buys into HAES. If she would stay alive and healthy longer, she would be an even better asset to managing strays and prevention of needless animal deaths. But no, this. From S. the Brat. Thrifting large clothes into small clothes is a butt trench move? Seconding this, there's tons of cheap clothes for skinny people, so it gets recycled at thrift stores a lot. The pickings for fat people are usually pretty sparse. I can go into a store with 2 racks of pants and jeans for skinny people, and have 4 pairs of pants my size. So her taking clothes a fat person could have really used and making into yet another skinny item is itself a butt trench thing to do. It's like going into a classroom and taking the left-handed scissors and jury-rigging them to work with a right-handed person. Except that the left-handed scissors are 10% of the scissors, but 40% of the students. If it's practical, you may want to consider donating your clothes to a thrift store in a poorer part of town, where it may be the highlight of someone's day to find it, or to charity like Dress for Success, which provides job interview clothing for poor women, especially since poverty and fatness are an interconnected cycle in this country, with cheap food leading to fatness and fatness having such a strong economic implications. Irrelevant replied, anytime I go shopping at the mall, all the small medium sizes are sold out, and the only sizes left are large to extra 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 large, so not sure what this person is talking about. Window pane, same. I always have to dig for the 1 pair of size 6 pants under a sea of 16s and 18s.
There's probably some pessimist rule at work here. That is to say, no matter what size you're looking for, that's always the size they're out of, except in styles you don't like.
From Auntie N. Are you telling me that my grandmother and aunt's death was a lie then? Many surgeons refuse to operate on fat patients unless they lose weight, claiming anesthesia won't work effectively. But when a fat person has bariatric weight loss surgery, the anesthesia magically works. Refusing patients surgery is not medically sound, it's just fat phobia. Auntie Anne replied to herself, Details, I am hurt and I'm furious. I posted a comment on that post about my experience with that. Anesthesia killed my aunt and my grandma. They were both diabetic and overweight. They were both seemingly healthy and their blood work was fine. People in the comments were accusing me of lying and saying that they didn't die because they're fat, and that breathing problems and sleep apnea are not related to weight. From Dorkita. Listening to your body at 600 pounds sounds like a great plan. Does IE and HAES have a size cap? For people who are 600 plus pounds struggling to do things like go to the bathroom and bathe, could this be an option? No, there's no size cap. If someone is 600 pounds, they probably have medical reasons that they can't lose weight, easily gain weight, or maybe they've dieted so much that their metabolism is messed up. Everyone should be welcome to listen to their body. No Pressure replied, Well, if you listen to your 600-pound body, I'd say that it's screaming at you to stop eating. Fuzzy Blue Pillow. Real intuitive eating tells you to pay attention to your body and its needs. But I feel like by the time you get to 600 pounds, you probably are not listening to your body screaming, I'm full, every time you inhale donuts.
Or for some people, orange chicken.
Tall Lawfulness added, I think their stomachs are so stretched out that they no longer feel full without eating a ton of poop. At that point, intuitive eating won't work. Altruistic Narcissist added, It's not just your stomach. Eating donuts or any other kind of junk food that's designed to hit those brain pathways that trigger dopamine release all the time, and you become an addict. Intuitive eating only worked for me after a period of intense caloric restriction that I needed to rewire my brain and body so that I could know when I'm actually hungry and not just craving a dopamine release. To pun or not to pun added even more. I mean, even when my stomach was stretched and I could eat like that, I was constantly sick with nausea, acid reflux, and whatever else was bothering me at the time. I ignored it. I became much better about it. You could say I became an intuitive eater, which caused me to lose weight. From Love Dove Bunny, will you be offended if someone loses weight for their health? CW, weight loss, health. I have a question and I hope it doesn't offend or trigger anyone here. I've gained 100 pounds in the past 1.5 years and I've noticed that my health has gotten worse. Is all weight loss fat-phobic and wrong? I don't want to lose weight to be seen as acceptable to society, But I don't want to have back pain or pain while walking. I don't want to go back to crazy diets because those don't work. And I don't want to change my lifestyle because that's a diet too. Should I do weight training? Thank you. Love Dove Bunny replied to herself. I'm irritated and sad that these people think that taking care of their physical health will make others upset. Rapidly gaining weight in a short amount of time is dangerous and isn't healthy. I want the OP to get healthier and lose weight. The comments told the OP to try strength training and or listen to their body. Their body is telling them to stop gaining weight, and yet they refuse to believe their body. Mikino. It's sad. Strength training is amazing for sustained weight loss, but it's not a miracle. 100 pounds in 18 months is no minor feat. You're talking 6,000 calories daily to put on that kind of weight in that time frame. No amount of strength training is going to correct that bad of a diet. El Sombra Betado added, I had to work with a perky and annoying health coach. I think she had some kind of academic credentials, I'm not sure. She said the same thing, weightlifting is the best exercise to lose weight.
I actually did a little bit of research on this, because I get obsessed sometimes. What I found was that running is the best for losing weight, but even better is combining running and weightlifting. Of course, that's very time-consuming.
From Drakita, I am officially out of words. Just binged again. I just wish I could listen to my body. Crying frustrated emoji. Binging is a perfect opportunity to listen to your body. Hearts. But here's my question about this. Is binging really our body telling us what it wants? I think it's all mental for me. Like a food addiction, even if I'm not hungry, if I think about a food, I still want it. That's why I worry about intuitive eating for me until I get the mental part down. You have to allow yourself to eat it, even if you aren't hungry. I used to think I had a food addiction problem too. Having a food addiction is like having an air addiction. You can try to take in as little air as possible, but eventually you will suck it in uncontrollably. Can you imagine being shamed or feeling like a failure for breathing too much? At first, when you remove restriction and judgment for what you eat and how much you eat, you will feel out of control, and it will last a while, like months.
Or potentially the rest of your life.
But eventually you will no longer feel out of control.
When you're dead, I imagine.
You will no longer feel like you're addicted to food.
No, because you're constantly binging instead.
You have to build trust with your body, and that takes time. Okra Garden. This is how we get all those sad, I tried intuitive eating and now I'm 100 pounds overweight posts. Tfee lookalike. I feel really bad for the OP, who's really just looking to feel better mentally and physically, but getting this kind of false information. From Region Matt. Obese equals healthy AF. You can't tell if someone is healthy by looking at them, so stop doing it. Those words are surrounded by pictures of a bunch of obese women. Mao Nue. Unless they're too thin. From Fording Bascoban. Why do they seek treatments if they seem to know all the answers? The only doctor that will be correct is the one that will tell them to eat all they want. Anything else is FFS, lady. I just had a phone consult with a neurologist as I have been tentatively diagnosed with idiopathic intracranial hypertension.
I've never heard of that before.
I waited a long time to see this neuro because she was recommended by other people with IIH. Now, I knew the weight loss suggestion was going to come. It's the first line of treatment for IIH, but what can you do? I'm not going to find an HAES neurologist, and she does seem friendly and approachable otherwise. So when she brought up weight loss, I said, I have a history of eating disorders, so I'm concerned about restricting. Her solution? Don't try to do this alone. Go to a weight loss clinic. FFS, lady. Anyway, just needed to get that off my chest. I don't have the emotional energy to be an advocate in this situation. So my plan is to see an HAES dietitian. I'd been thinking about it anyway. If she brings the weight loss clinic up again, I'll tell her I'm already working with a dietitian. No need to mention that I'm seeing an anti-diet dietitian. Nath Alien Athlete replied, the alternative to losing weight is medications that have terrible side effects, like kidney stones and neurological symptoms. I don't know why the bad place. You would want to put up with that as opposed to just eating better and exercising. From Total Mans. Yeah, because I know what people do 24/7. Every time I pass a post about fat phobia with comments on it from little finches going, just eat better and exercise more, I'm reminded of every skinny person I've ever known, and not a single flamingoing one of them ate healthily or regularly exercised. But you know, they were skinny, so that's fine. Shamaka Spear replied, I have a feeling the skinny people they know might actually be straight-sized and not fit. But the real kicker is that they're making a lot of assumptions about the habits and health of skinny people. Isn't that the thing they hate? Assumptions about health and habits? As an aside, I'm pretty skinny. I eat a plant-based diet and work out 3 times a week. If you ask 20 of my friends, 18 of them would swear they've never seen me work out or eat anything that wasn't ultra unhealthy. Weird how people tend to eat party foods around their friends. Even weirder that I don't bring my treadmill to the party with me. Colorful Snowflake added, a lot of FA people consider people that are just overweight as slim. You have to be obese or even morbidly obese to be fat in their eyes. To them, if you aren't fat, you must be slim. I didn't exercise and ate mostly carbohydrates and maintained a weight on the cusp of normal overweight. I would have been slim in their eyes. I didn't need to eat healthy or exercise to stay that size. I just needed not to eat more than was comfortable. Schmakespeare. I was the same way. No exercise, ate all sorts of fecal matter. I was trying to lose weight at the time, and any time it came up, my friends would say, "What? You aren't even fat, you're so skinny." Nah, I was just skinnier than them. Sweetheart Blues brings us a little bit of sanity. 9 reasons you're not in a calorie deficit. Underestimating portion sizes. Overeating healthy foods.
And the picture's avocado, which is very easy to overeat on, because it's so high in calories.
Too many bites, licks, and tastes.
It's a picture of peanut butter. Again, a thing that's very easy to overeat on.
Not accounting for oil when cooking. Eating back calories burned from exercise.
That can be especially bad if the calorie estimate is wrong.
Eating out at restaurants often. Measuring by volume, not weight. Forgetting about what you ate earlier. You're less active than you think. Flying Old Fiddle replied, I'm at forgetting about what you ate earlier. Currently getting around that by not eating the sort of junk that's easy to forget. I can eat 500 calories of cookies in the afternoon and forget about them by dinner. But a protein bar and an apple does a much better job of sticking with me. It makes me less hungry at dinner time. From Svala MD. Let's just deny everything that goes against our views. An article showed up on my Reddit front page this morning and curiosity got the better of me. After the huge trigger of reading the article, I made the mistake of reading the comments. Don't be like me. If you are having any success with intuitive eating, just stay the course and don't look back. Diets don't work. Don't let a study trick you into thinking you'll be one of the lucky ones. Bonby replied, to think that so many people actually think this way is actually terrifying. Intuitive eating should be about practicing healthy habits and listening to your body's hunger cues. But so many people's hunger cues are out of whack that it has become eat what you want and don't pay attention, which leads people to just overeating and gaining more weight and pretending like they are now free. Like this is just such a delusional, self-destructive rabbit hole, and it seems like more and more people each year are falling into it.
And I believe this was the article that they're talking about.
From World News, posted by Norfolk Diver. Fat but fit is a myth when it comes to heart health, a new study shows. CNN. The negative effects of excess body fats on heart health can't be canceled out by maintaining an active lifestyle, according to new research. This I found from mildly interesting, but I thought it was sort of interesting. From EA Monsieur. American breakfast cereals, imported and sold in Asia, have their unsubstantiated health claims blanked out. The claims are things like lowers cholesterol. Sleepy Projectionist replied, we had a similar thing here in the UK. Mostly it was covering up stickers that claimed to be a good source of vitamin blank. Apparently we have a much stricter definition of what constitutes a good source of a particular vitamin or mineral. So stickers just saying a source of had to be added to protect the manufacturer from being fined for false advertising. Taograd added, in America, a good source of vitamin blank means that at some point someone who works in the factory that makes that cereal may have passed by a vegetable or fruit at some point in their lives.
That's been my experience too. Things will say stuff like, good source of protein, then you look at the box, 200 calories, 3 grams of protein. That's not a good source.
And now, DeChonkers. First we have one from Smagora. This is a gecko, I think, that we saw quite a while ago, probably over a year ago. It says, posted here about my gek being a chonk a while back. He is now much more healthy, and I am much more educated.
To be honest, I didn't even know lizards could get fat.
From Ms. Berg. It's a cat with a big white front, gray with dark gray stripes in the back, and kind of looks like he's wearing a gray stripy helmet. He was originally 17 pounds and looked a little bit chunky. Now he's 11.5 pounds. He looks healthy. My handsome Holland has lost 5.5 pounds since my fiancé and I adopted him 2 years ago.
That's a pretty fast weight loss for a cat.
From Don't Yell at Me. My garter snake, Sophie. A year ago he looked pretty obese. and now he looks pretty slim.
I didn't know you were allowed to keep garter snakes as pets. I thought you weren't supposed to take wild animals and bring them inside. Shows what I know, huh?
From Ingji. It's an orange cat with dark orange stripes, a white belly and feet. Does my Milo need a dechonking? He is 10 years old and 5 kilograms. He gets hormonal treatment for hair loss. I don't know if that affects it. Currently on a free-feeding dry food diet. Ask your vet. From End of the Line. It's a big dark brown dog, a little bit shaggy looking. Floppy ears, floppy tail. My chonk, Coco, rescued at 157 pounds.
That's a big dog.
From an Amish puppy mill after having 50 puppies in 5 years. She's down to 136 pounds. Her goal is 115 to 120. From Willow Beef. It's a black cat with what looks like to be a white belly and face. I think my rescue is in need of dechonking.
From the picture it doesn't look like it, but I'm not a vet.
From Smoothest Jazz. It's another black cat. You can't see much, except that the sun's behind him, so it makes the photo kind of difficult to see the cat at all. Need dechonking advice. 15 pounds currently and should be around 11 pounds. He's been on a diet for 2 months and hasn't gained or lost. Help! He waddles when he walks. If he hasn't lost any weight yet, that means you're still feeding him too much. Or he's sneaking somebody else's food. From D3 Smar. It's an orange cat with stripes. Strangely, no white parts on his body. Kinda got used to seeing a white belly. There's 2 pictures of her, one looking directly at the camera and one looking down, and I cannot tell if she was ever overweight. She's lost 100 grams. I can't tell if she was obese in the first place. From Kendra Cat. It's a fuzzy picture of an orange cat with a white belly. He kind of looks all slumped down on the floor. Before pick to hold Fat Ken accountable. From Dr. Diagnonsense. It's a gray cat. In the first picture, he's laying down on the couch on a red blanket. Looks sleepy and fluffy. In the second picture, he looks less fluffy, strangely. Successfully dechonked. From Sammy Ahoy. It's an orange cat with dark orange stripes. This chunky boy's diet starts today. He absolutely refuses to eat any wet food, any form of meat, so it has to be dry food, sadly. Any tips appreciated. From Shock Attack. This is a sleek black cat with a little bit of a white spot on its neck. Geeky weighs about 15 pounds. We have gone to the vet, who'd said he could lose some weight, but also is just a large cat. He snores louder than me, and I can hear him breathe. No heart issues. We got it checked. Any advice to people new to dechonking their chonkers? From Slippery Eggs. It's 4 pictures of the same cat. This cat has some strange coloring. He's got dark brown or gray spots, mixed with light brown spots, some striping, and a white neck and belly and hands. This might be some kind of calico, I'm not sure. Pictures start at 8 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 months ago, and now. It's hard to tell if there's any weight loss because of the various angles. My chunker's weight loss journey. She's lost 6 pounds. From Orange Stories. This is a white cat with black spots, a black tail, and a black head. He is 2 years old and 7 kilograms. We try to keep him on a diet, but recently he has lost his collar inside his food container. Don't know how he got in. Sounds like you need a better food container for your little thief. From Burnett's Boy. It's a guy posing with his big gray cat, down 17 pounds from 25. Not gonna lie, the cat looks a little bit like a panther, and appears ready to eat the photographer. From ADHD BP Disaster. A sleek black cat with a white belly. He started off kind of chunky looking, and now he looks a little bit like a kitten. My Fat Lucy to Fab Lucy. She was rescued weighing 26 pounds, but now is back to a healthy weight. From Math and Bake. It's a mouse with a white belly, little pink paws, and it's mostly brown. My rat Lobelia, rat, not a mouse. My rat Lobelia is chunky. She has overflowing sides and a belly. Rats are social and snackers, so getting a single rat to dechonk is tricky. So Lobelia gets extended free roam time, delayed food access until she dechonks. She's not enjoying it, but she'll thank me later. Wish her luck. From New Hendrix. This is a black cat with a white face and white paws. This is ASMR. He's overweight, but tonight the dechonking has started. From G. Klein. It's a brown dog with floppy ears. In the first picture he looks a little bit obese, but in the second one he looks pretty lean. Milo is kicking hypothyroidism's butt. From Snow Surfer. It looks to be a brown cat with gray stripes? It's hard to tell exactly. Luna has lost 3 pounds and now plays with toys every morning and night and can jump on armrests. From Sacred Realm. It's a gray cat, only a few stripes on the top of his head, green eyes. In the first picture he's very chunky, but in the second picture he looks pretty healthy. My big boy Damon. Adopted at 25 pounds last June, down to 17 pounds. 6 months progress. 4 pounds left until his weight goal. From Mr. Lavender Valentino. It's a little tiny dog with pointy ears. Next to the dog there's a picture of 2 plates of food, with a lot of nuts and fruit. Is that okay for dogs to eat? I don't even know. I thought they preferred meat. Anyway, the comment says, his and his, we've been dechunking together. From Glad. It's a giant black dog. Looks a little bit like a bear in the first picture. In the second picture he looks much healthier. And he looks small in the second picture, but the angle is rather close, so it's hard to tell exactly. 40 pounds down.
Well, that's all for today. Have fun out there, everybody.